Hey, Facebook, coming to you at a little crooked angle. I've got technical issues. You know, it is what it is. Trying to get my YouTube to go live, and it's struggling. So if you're over on the YouTube link, I apologize. I'm just not able to find where I'm going live with my lovely video. So I might just be talking to you, Facebook. So give me one moment while I continue to hunt down my live video or my button and struggle with that. So we're going to talk about shocking your shtick with love tonight. And I'm going to try to be loving with technology. And should be done within 30 minutes because it's going to be fast and furious and a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I want to hear your comments and questions on how you love yourself and love others. So drop those in the chat when you get a moment. And I'm going to still not cuss, but struggle with this, getting this to go live over on YouTube. So, I want to hear your questions and comments on loving yourself and loving others. It says it's waiting for me. So, we'll see. Trying to find the button to push the YouTube live. So with that, we're just going to kick it off with Facebook. Hey, Mary, glad you're here. I want to hear comments or questions on how you love yourself and love others. That's the topic for tonight. I've been struggling over on Facebook trying to get the live button to go. Apparently, when I promote it, I'm struggling. So I'm going to try to love on YouTube at the same time. But I want to hear what your questions, comments are on loving yourself and loving others. So we're going to kick this off with defining what love is. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary online, love is a strong affection for another, attraction, warm attachment or devotion, empathy, concern, care, and here's what we're going to focus on tonight: unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern for the good of another. So again, if you are joining us tonight, thank you. Drop your comments, concerns, questions on loving yourself and loving others. I have prepared, well, I actually cheated. I used ChatGPT to prepare me a few comments and points on love not love of self, but loving yourself, loving others, serving others. And the first question that it asks is, what does it actually mean to love others through service? Or is love more about what we do than what we say? And I use these examples as when I actually conjure up the energy and attentiveness to cook for my husband, make the beds. Those are acts of love. Doing laundry, cleaning toilets, those nasty acts of service is love. Cleaning the bathroom. And when we were young moms, remember changing diapers. Oh my goodness. Running errands. And being disciplined in our spending. That is key for showing that love through service. That's an act of service as well. Sometimes even just showing up and listening, giving without recognition. That is a couple of examples of love through service. What are your ideas of love with service? I'd love to hear about them. So drop them in the chat. Let's see if I am not hearing. I think I see the chat, but sometimes, there's challenge. Oop, there is a chat. Enable. Oh, I've got to do a button here. Enable Q&A. There we go. Maybe I have to enable that before you can put anything in there. So let me know what acts of service, how you love others through the acts of service. Another question that I'd love to discuss is, can you truly love others well if you don't love yourself first? And that old phrase of, you can't pour from an empty cup. We've got to fill our own cup before we can flow over to others. But also from Matthew 22, verse 39, it says, love your neighbor as yourself. And there's a fine line between that ego and loving ourself, or that ego and then respect for self, excuse me. When we walk that fine line, we have, it almost like is the difference between confidence and conceit. So we've always got to check ourselves in that way as well. Which leads to the next point. It's, what's the difference between a healthy self-worth and ego? Because a lot of times, going back to that Bible verse, a lot of times when we think about loving ourselves before we love others and how we do that, sometimes we are down on ourselves, and sometimes we think of ourselves higher than other people as well. So again, that fine line. But how is it that we can love our neighbor as much as we love ourselves? Well, a lot of times we know we wouldn't injure ourselves, so we wouldn't injure others. We wouldn't hurt or harm ourselves. But do we treat them like we want to be treated? Are we impatient with others? Are we condescending? Are we judgmental? Because a lot of times what we show outward is what we're doing to ourselves inwardly. And yeah, that's a conviction, and it's put there to make us change and help us, do something different. So I hope that comes close to your heart, and something to really focus on. Does serving others fill you? Sometimes I catch myself, I'm guilty of this, of doing service to get the recognition, to be put in the spotlight, and that's not what loving others and serving others is about. It's about that humility, and we'll come to that after a little bit. So what's the difference between a healthy self-worth and ego? Moving on to that question again as well, is the self-worth, I looked this up in the dictionary as well. It's always good to have, words are important. It's always good to know what our words mean. And self-worth is value, respect, and I thought this phrase was interesting, influencing confidence and emotional health. That's what being grounded and rooted in that confidence, or I like to call it God confidence. And it's not all on us. It's just in us. And when we build that and practice that, that's where we separate that from the ego, and we're able to serve others fully without need or want of the recognition. And so when we define ego, it's performance-based, it's attention-seeking, sometimes easily offended. But a definition is exaggerated sense of self-importance and conceit. I love that. Exaggerated sense of self-importance or conceit. And we've got to, again, draw that line between the two and make sure we're walking that healthy balance and making sure we're confident in the areas with bold confidence versus the conceited confidence. And sometimes ego can come in the form of depression, and it's all about me, and we're focusing on what makes me feel good or doesn't feel good. And I hope that you're confident enough that you'll overcome that and grow out of that. So how do you know when your service is actually driven by ego? Sometimes, like I gave an example, sometimes are we frustrated when we're unnoticed, or do we expect something in return? Praise, influence, we've got to, really watch that. Going back to the whole premise of this live is the difference between loving others and loving yourself, and what comes first. Again, that filling our cup. We've got to know where we stand and whose we are. We are God's creation, and you are important. And when you know that confidently inside, we're able to love others. Again, going back to that Matthew verse, is loving others more than yourself. Hey, Scott. I don't know if it's Scott or Cheryl, but thanks for joining us. And thanks, Darlene, for watching as well. So we're right in the middle. We're going to make this short and sweet. I was just sharing at the beginning that I'm struggling trying to get my YouTube to go live. And so I apologize for anybody trying to click the YouTube link. It's not working for me. So I've got to do some more studying on that. Gotta love technology. I'm trying to love technology. So reviewing, loving others first or loving ourselves first. Matthew 22:39. Love your neighbor as yourself. When we love ourselves, that doesn't mean egotistically. That means being confident in how who loves us and whose we are. Then we can overflow and pour out into others. So the next question that my lovely chat GPT came up with is, what comes first? Again, answering this question, loving yourself or loving others. Being able to love ourselves requires growth and development. And hopefully that has come with maturity. Sometimes age comes alone. John Maxwell told us about that, a story of his father telling him that sometimes wisdom comes with age, sometimes age comes alone. So I'm hoping that this little nugget of information tonight will help you develop and grow to love yourself and gain that confidence inside so that you can pour out and love others and serve others. So one of the questions that it came up with is, loving yourself and loving others a sequence, like step by step? Or is it a cycle? Does it go in a circle? If you are able to comment, I turned on the chat, but I don't know if it's working. And it says enable submitted questions will go here. So hopefully you're able to put questions in. I don't know if I can see them. I have this on my phone right now. So if they're there, I apologize. But just let me know in the comments, do you think it's a sequence or a cycle? I believe that it's a cycle because, again, it's development. A lot of times we get down on ourselves and we come up out of that pit and then come up higher, that growth. And a lot of times that growth, we don't grow on the hilltops. We don't grow on the mountaintops. We grow in the valleys. And once we get to the mountaintop, we feel amazing. And sometimes we get full of ourselves and that ego comes and then we slip down the side of the mountain again, grow, develop, and then come back up. But I believe it's a cycle. I'd love to hear what you think. And then consider humility helps or unlocks both. And we'll jump into humility in just a little bit. Why is loving others through service so powerful right now? Well, I don't know about you, but I've been using a little bit of AI to help me write and do a little bit more creating, not necessarily do my thinking for me, but assist. And with the development of AI is, more of the tech side, but that human side is never going to go away. And we have to develop that. We have to be the ones that are connecting, because we can't connect with a computer. I even feel like I'm on one side and you're on the other side. I live in boxes of Zoom boxes all day long, on devices, tablets, phones, computers, laptops. I'm in a screen and I feel disconnected. We can't connect with technology, but we can connect with human to human, call it belly to belly, old-fashioned way. And that's important because that's going to be where we are going to be able to help other people with that emotional health. And we've already been seeing that. There's a bunch of scientific studies showing that the connection and the disconnection and the depression is coming with too much time on our phones and comparing ourselves. So that's where you're going to come in handy, and you're going to be powerful, is making those connections with people. In a culture of self-focus, the self-centered, you've seen people doing selfies and it's all about them on their videos. It's me, me, me. Service and connecting human to human is going to be what's going to stand out, and you're going to be the one that's going to stand out. So service builds trust, influence, and real connection. So I've got 3 more points before we go on to that. I would love for you to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff with Facebook. Tell other people about this. We're going to do this every month. Every month is going to be a different focus on a chapter in the new book, and that is Shocking Your Shtick. My love chapter, I've already forgotten to mark which chapter it was. I have to look it up. But anyway, Shocking Your Shtick is available on Amazon. You can go to shockingyourshtick.com. Shtick is SHTICK. And it'll direct you right to the Amazon. You could also just go to Amazon and search for it. But we're going to go over a chapter a month, or just focus on a chapter a month. And tonight's chapter is loving yourself and loving others. Love, actually, in general. And that comes with serving others. So with that, let's finish up the last few points. This question asks, how do you love yourself without feeding ego? Again, going back to that ego. The magic word, it already came up before, humility. Again, serving with no ulterior motive. We're going to replace comparison with purpose and practice gratitude and getting that quiet confidence. So I said bold confidence before, and I like this phrase better. It's a quiet confidence. It's knowing, it's having that confidence, that boldness inside, but it is quiet and gentle on the outside. It's also, this is where that word comes in again, God confidence or Godfidence. And it's rooted in faith, rooted in truth. Building that quiet confidence inside, and sneaks it away from the ego taking off with it. Not the eagle, but the ego. All right. Two more questions. What role does humility play in both loving yourself and others? So humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. And there's another word for humility, and that is meekness. And I've heard this definition. I think Joyce Meyer first introduced me to it. Meekness, you think weakness, but it's not. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness is strength under control. Because we could be, there could be, I don't want to say it could be violence, but there is such potential for overpowering negativity. There's a lot at stake when you're speaking, when you're meeting with people, and it's a frustrating struggle. And when you have humility, your strength is under control, because you might want to pop somebody in the nose and you control it. That is humility. Humility also creates space for both confidence and compassion. Now, if you're thinking of that, help me out, because that's something like fresh in my mind going, that's a new thought. So both confidence and compassion is what humility provides for us. Last point. What is one shockingly loving action you can do this week, or you can take this week? So I want you to do something for someone else, and also do something to build that humble confidence, that quiet confidence. Maybe it's a soft, quiet action, like a prayer, an act of kindness. Maybe you're cleaning or cooking for your spouse, or someone else in your house, or someone else around your community. Maybe you pack an extra lunch to work so that you can serve someone else that way that may not have enough to eat for the day. Maybe it's as simple as forgiving someone, giving something anonymously. Maybe you leave a fresh baked pie in the fridge or on the counter at a place where you frequent quite a bit. Or maybe you do something bold. Maybe you encourage boldly. Maybe you speak something out loud positively to somebody. Maybe you give them a compliment. And or maybe you send an anonymous gift. That's bold, but it's also undercover. So I want to encourage you with that and leave you with that, to take an action and go for it this week. And message me on Facebook, or you can private message me. You can come back to this video and pop it in there. But do tag me, whether you private message me or doing something else. So let me know what action you've taken and what you've seen come from it. If it's done anonymously, what something else did you notice? What little God wink did you feel or hear from it, or discover from it? So with that, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight, and we'll be doing another one in a month. Hopefully I can get my YouTube live working. Didn't get that going tonight, but appreciate you dropping in here, and have a blessed week.